And welcome to this edition of the Native News Update on this Monday, April 23rd. I am the host for today's program again, Paul DeMain, and many of the stories right here can also be found at our website at IndianCountryNews.com. And here are some of the news stories for the day. A draft resolution presented to the State Board of Education last week would require Oregon schools to retire their Native American mascots within 5 years or risk losing state funding. If approved as early as May, the rule would be one of the nation's strongest and require 15 high schools, mostly in small towns, to erase Native American mascots from their uniforms, sports fields, websites, trophy cases, and even school stationery by July 1st, 2017. Moreover, schools identified as the Braves, Indians, and Chieftains would have to adopt a new nickname. Schools called the Warriors could be allowed to retain their nickname if they alter their mascot. The regulation would also apply to an unknown number of elementary and middle schools there. Since the 1970s, more than 600 high schools and colleges across the country have dropped Native American names, including 20 in Oregon. But some small communities have resisted the trend, saying their nicknames and mascots are a proud source of pride and tradition. Taos has been named one of the nation's 20 best small towns in America by the Smithsonian Magazine. The May edition of the magazine names the small northern New Mexico mountain hamlet as the number 2 best town, losing only to the great Barrington, Massachusetts. The Smithsonian Magazine says the charm of Taos centers around tourists and other outdoor enthusiasts packing the plaza of the old adobe town and the town's many galleries and museums steeped in deep Hispanic and Native American history of the past. The list was developed by a geographic information system company called Esri, who searched towns with populations less than 25,000. Towns were judged based on their high concentration of museums, historical sites, and other cultural attractions. Taos was followed by Red Bank, New Jersey, and Mill Valley, California. The ongoing dispute over the University of North Dakota Fighting Sioux nickname, which never seems to go away, has shifted venues from the state Supreme Court to federal court. Attorneys were scheduled to meet in Fargo on April 19th to argue either a lawsuit by the Spirit Lake Sioux tribe and Standing Rock Sioux member Archie Foolbear should move forward. The suit claims several rights violations. It seeks at least $10 million from the NCAA and a reversal of its policy banning use of American Indian imagery. The NCAA says the complaint has no legal basis and should be dismissed. The North Dakota Supreme Court last month refused to block a statewide election on whether UND must keep the nickname. The vote is coming up on June 12th, and if the Fighting Sioux supporters lose, UND intends to drop the moniker. Residents of the Rosebud Reservation town of Parmelee have broken ground on a new fire station there. The Rapid City Journal reports that the facility for the Parmelee Volunteer Fire Department is being paid for with a $120,000 grant and loan combination from South Dakota USDA Rural Development. The state of South Dakota also contributed a $130,000 community development block grant to the project, and community members raised some of their own money as well. The 50-foot by 70-foot station will house the 20-member department, which serves a population of nearly 2,000. The nearest fire department is now some 21 miles away. A grizzly bear suspected of killing steers on a Blackfoot reservation ranch will get a second chance after being trapped by tribal wildlife officials. The Great Falls Tribune reports that the 472-pound grizzly was captured the morning of April 19th, 40 miles north of Browning, Montana, in a foot snare baited with the carcass of one of the dead steers. Tribal wildlife biologist Dan Carney says he believes that male is the same bear responsible for killing 6 yearling steers on the Rumney Ranch. But the bear has no history of livestock killings, so the Carney transported the grizzly across the Continental Divide to the remote Whitefish Range in the North Fork of the Flathead River. Bears that repeatedly feed on livestock can be killed, but those transplanted bears sometimes readjust or they show back up and start doing their thing again. We'll see what happens with that one. A Choctaw County deputy has been killed and a Choctaw Nation tribal officer injured in a 2-car collision on Highway 70 near Soper in southeastern Oklahoma. The Oklahoma Highway Patrol says 47-year-old Deputy Brian Hayden of Sawyer was dead on arrival at a hospital in Hugo following the crash just before 8:30 p.m. last Thursday evening, April 19th. The patrol says the 29-year-old tribal officer Josiah Moore was hospitalized in stable condition following the collision. Troopers say both were westbound with lights and sirens activated to assist another deputy when Hayden turned left into a county road and Morris swerved left and crashed into the driver's side of the Hayden's truck. The reason for the two responding to the other deputy was not released as of yet. And that's going to be another roundup of news from Indian Country on this edition of the Native News Update. We want to thank you for joining with us and come back again soon.